in today's numbers, he still is more wealthy than Bezos or what's the other one?
Elon Musk?
Elon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that we ain't talking about Joseph,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
who cornered the whole world system.
Yep, yep. And so, and if anybody has any inroad to biblical success secrets, it ought to be God's people. You know, and for Elon, and they were talking about how smart he is, and I was listening to somebody talking about it, and you know, but look at what he's produced. You know, all of the things that he's produced. I was in Florida when I was in Florida, so I was with Brother Luther and them, and they live not too far from Cape Canaveral, where they launch all of the rockets and stuff like that. Well, they got SpaceX is down there now. It's Elon Musk. So they launching. He said every other week they have rocket launches down there, every other week, and you know, they're sending things out into orbit, satellites and stuff like that all the time. So, but God, you know, I think what we have to do is get a little bit jealous when it comes to things like that, because if the world can do that, then we ought to be able to do it. Yeah, and I told you when Pharaoh, when Joseph, after Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's 2 dreams, and Pharaoh said, "Well, what do you think we should do?" Joseph says, "Choose out a man that you can put over these affairs." And what did Pharaoh do? No, but what did he do before that? He looked throughout his whole cabinet. Everybody, yeah, and this, watch this, including Potiphar. Potiphar was second in command, the one who put Joseph in prison. Pharaoh looked over Potiphar. Everybody, all of his wise men, all of his sorcerers, all of his soothsayers, everybody that he considered that had some kind of wisdom or some kind of sense, he looked over every one of them, and he just, I could only imagine him just scanning the room like this right here, because they was all in there. He just scanned the room. And I guess, and when he was looking to me, no, that sucker can't do it. No, I know he can't do it. No, I know, child, I know he, I know he can't do it. He just, and he looked, and he probably looked again, and he looked again. He told me, then he looked at Joseph. He said, "You be that man." Ain't that amazing that here it is that you've been running this country all this time, and not one of these guys that's been with you, that you trust them to handle the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And he says, and he chooses Joseph. See, I'm really bold and adamant about it, man. I ain't scared to let God infuse me with wisdom that ain't nobody else got. I'm serious. You know, I mean, you know, child, you know, Lord, show me something that you ain't showed nobody. I told you, Coach told me, we text back and forth today. He said the millionaires of tomorrow, said this many, many years ago, will be those who have ideas. And see, it's idea, the innovation and stuff like this, ideas. And so, and that's, you know, that's why God got me pushing on y'all that, you know, you got to be willing to leave the old traditional things that we've been doing. And telling Pastor Jimmy, brilliant. He's a manuscript preacher. And so he can God will give him a word, and he can create an outline and outline a message from it. Well, guess what? I can't do that. I can do it, but not like he does. And so he's able to, point A, 1, 2, 3, 4, up under B, however you do outlines and stuff like this. I said, bro, do you know how many books you have just in an outline with AI? You can take a chat GPT, take an outline, stick it in the chat GPT, and tell it to add some content to this. And it will literally make you chapters and write you a book by itself. All you got to do is go back in there. If it ain't right, you go back in there and fix it. I said, boy, do you understand what's wrong with you? I talk about him like a dog to his face. I don't talk about him behind his back. I said, man, do you understand if I could do that? And but guess what he about to do? So he about to get me a couple of his outlines. I said, just get me one. Just give me one of them. Let me go to work on it. And I'm going to give it back to you. And then you shoot it. You just add to it what you want to, take away what you see. And that just gives you a little bit of help. So this, it just, we ain't, people, they're selling ebooks for $1.97, $9.97, $17.97, $27.97, $37.97, ebooks, ebook, electronic book. You know what I mean? If you sold 1,000 of them a week for a month at $37. I told Jimmy, he come by yesterday. I was sitting there waiting on a shipment to come in. We got some new Bibles in yesterday and had a book specifically coming for a lady. But I said, you know, it's amazing how we just really just sit back and we literally think the world is smaller than it is. We think it's smaller than it is. You know why? A million don't even compare to a billion. Y'all do understand that, right? Okay. So if you took 1% of a million, what's that? How many people is that? If 1%, no, that's 10,000, isn't it? 100,000 is 10% of a million. Yeah. So 10,000 people out of a million. What if you sold 10,000 books at $37 a book? Y'all ain't saying that, dude. Wait a minute. Hold on. All right, you know, 10,000 times 30. We know what it is. 37,000. That's 310,000 times $37. How much that is, Brother Perry? That's $370,000. Y'all know how easy that is? It's literally that easy. And so this is what I told him. I said, buddy, y'all, I'm in context, so I ain't got off. We don't know what the Holy Spirit will breathe on. That which you put in the marketplace. He could breathe on that thing. So this lady, right before I went to Florida, I had this. I enrolled in this course about online marketing and stuff like this. It's a 3-day course. One of the guys that did the thing, he's made well over $1 billion doing online marketing. Did you hear what I just said? Just online marketing. So he's the industry expert, Russell Brunson. Y'all probably seen him out there. So it started Tuesday. I didn't know the doggone thing was 8 hours. I mean, literally. And then it was Wednesday. Then I left on Wednesday. And then it was Thursday. Then they had something on Friday. So I'm just sitting up there listening. So one of the ladies that was on there, y'all probably seen this lady. So she has this, Carice, this will bless you. So she was a news anchor, but she had a skin condition. And when in her, all them right there. Her, so she had to have makeup on, because, you know, on TV they put makeup on you anyway. And they would put this makeup on her, and so she had red bumps or something that she would break out. So she said one day, she said that the director started looking at her real strange, doing a live broadcast. And he said, what's that on your face? In her ear, because they got the earpiece in. And she said that thing her face had started breaking out, and it was popping through her makeup on live TV. And so she panicked. And she said, God, am I going to lose my job? And so, but anyway, they cut to a break and said she couldn't do nothing to cover that sucker up. Whatever she did, it just kept coming through. So what she started doing, she started asking God for a makeup because she couldn't find any makeup anywhere that would successfully cover it. And she started asking God for a makeup that would do it. And she found a chemist, and they figured out a formula to where she created a makeup to where it would cover that. It was a I forgot the condition that it was in. Anyway, so for several different months and years, she tried to get on QVC, but she was heavy, and she wasn't really pretty. And this what it was. They said, well, listen, we believe the product is good. But one guy, she said she almost got to the place where they thought somebody that was going to buy it. And she said, and the guy told her it's a no. And she looked at him and she said, well, can you honestly tell me the truth? He said, you really want me to tell you the truth? She said, yeah. He said, nobody's going to buy makeup if you're the face of it. Your body and your face won't sell it. She said she went back out in her car and just cried like a baby. So she tried to get on QVC. QVC told her no. So she's in Florida somewhere. So they had a trade show to where they got all of these vendors that come in, they bring their products. Y'all know they bring product reviews and stuff like that. So she but the thing is though, at this trade show, you couldn't leave your booth. In other words, you couldn't leave and go talk to nobody else. And you had this, if you left, you would forfeit, they'd kick you out. But QVC was there. Now, she had been communicating with QVC on the phone, email and stuff. She never had any meeting with them, in person. QVC was there. So she slipped, she left their table, left her booth and went over there and talked to the people. And the person told her, said, okay, I'm going to call you. And sure, lo and behold, they call it later on. And so so on QVC, they have a timer. And if you sell a certain amount of units, if you don't sell, if they give you 20 minutes, within that 20-minute period of time, based upon the amount of units that you have to sell, you have to sell a certain amount of them. If you don't, they begin to reduce your time down. So if you ain't selling nothing, they go from 10 to 15 to 10 to 5. Then next thing you know, so she panicking because she don't know she's talking. And all of a sudden, before the 20-minute period was out, sold every one of them things. Anyway, to make a long story short, this girl eventually sold that company to L'Oreal for $1.2 billion. Y'all didn't hear what I just said. Y'all did not hear what I just said. And she said, what I do now is I do philanthropy work. She don't need no money. She go in place and giving money away. See, all because necessity is the mother of invention. So Bree got a testimony. So Bree, y'all know Keith's wife, Bree. Y'all know she had that injury to her Achilles at work, so she ain't worked in 6-7 months, something like that. So she got her hair braided last November, December, and it broke her hair out. And y'all know how y'all girls is about your hair. And then she working at the bank and stuff like this. So she went to praying, asking God, Lord, help me do something, to grow my hair back. And she went to peddling around in the kitchen with some stuff, some natural stuff. Started concocting some stuff. All of a sudden, started growing her hair back. And now she has a product that's on the market now that's growing people's hair back like crazy. Like crazy. So selling it, got a website, just wonderful. But my point is, what would have happened if she never had that problem? That problem, these principles that we're going to talk about is, Murdoch said, we don't have a money problem, we have a wisdom problem. And what happens is, many times we don't have money because we're not solving the right problem. And you know what most of us do as it relates to problems? We run from them as opposed to seeking to solve them. And so, but what she did was, out of necessity of being able to do, now she's got something that's helping people. They selling this stuff all over the country. All over the country. It's absolutely amazing. So Anyway, let me get this. So the 20 we're doing this, y'all. There's 25 biblical laws of success. The Bible teachings have been confirmed by the experience of several respected professionals who built successful careers based on biblical laws and principles and values. Professionals, managers, and employees can draw on biblical lessons to attain excellence, credibility, and professional achievements. The laws of the Bible are like keys. Y'all hear that? And Jesus said, behold, I give you the what? Keys of the kingdom. Y'all remember that? Okay. They're like keys. They work for everybody. They work for black folks, come on, white folks, rich folks, poor folks, women, men. They work for anybody. If you use the right key, the safe opens. If you use the right key, your door will open on your car. It'll open on your house. It'll crank your car if you use the right key. The laws you will learn in this book are the keys that will open to you the doors to above average results and success. If you are asking yourself why so little is said about these professional lessons found in the Bible, the answer is simple. Listen, y'all, people usually see the Bible as merely a religious book. I already said that. Many apply scripture in a limited manner, obeying only its religious guidelines. And that's where the black church is right now. And much of the black church is right there because they just use the Bible for religious purposes. Many apply scripture in limited manner, obeying only its religious guidelines. Those not interested in religion completely miss out on important lessons that could, those not interested in religion completely miss out on important lessons that could boost their career. These oversights come at a high price, since both the former and the latter miss out on precious wisdom that could solve today's work challenges. And that is so true. Professional success is a goal that is in part a direct consequence of your personal convictions and values. Success also results from a combination of attitudes, thoughts, and behaviors. We heard that Sunday. Hard work alone will not guarantee lasting success. To achieve long-term professional success, you also need to develop characteristics such as, listen to this, y'all, discipline, willpower, resilience, intelligence, creativity, courage, determination, and self-control. These values, all of which are expressed in the Bible, will be discussed in detail in this book. Of course, the Bible is not the only place where we can learn about values that are useful in life, but when we are talking about work and career, the Bible certainly has the greatest quantity, and the best quality of advice. And so over the years, we've met a whole bunch of people wealthy people got very wealthy who have used the Bible to do so. That's true. The laws of success. Our world is governed by human laws. Whether a law is obeyed or infringed, there will be consequences. When people commit a crime, they go to jail. If people incorrectly pay a debt, they will have to make it right. Bad payers pay twice, goes an old Brazilian adage. On the other hand, those who abide by the law, such as employers who respect labor legislations, have fewer problems and expenses. There is an upside to opting to act within the law. Everyone understands the force of human laws, such as civil, criminal, and labor laws. Our world is also governed by natural laws. Everyone also understands the force of the laws of nature, such as the laws of physics and gravity. These natural laws affect us every day, regardless of whether we like them or not. So, Cynthia, you find the book? Is it a PDF? Free? Okay. Now, if y'all want to pay, y'all can buy it if you want to. I mean, we may even, we have this book. You sure? Okay. I thought I got it at the bookstore. Okay, what not everyone is aware of is the existence of yet another type of law, spiritual laws. Now, let me read this again. Everyone understands the force of human laws, such as civil, criminal, and labor laws. Our world is also governed by natural laws. Everyone also understands the force of the laws of nature, such as the laws of physics and gravity. These natural laws affect us every day regardless of whether we like them or not. What not everyone is aware of is the existence of yet another type of law, spiritual laws. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Most people think spiritual laws apply only to matters of religion. Woo! Boy, that just resounds so much in me. That just helped. Boo! But there's more to them than that. Spiritual laws are immaterial laws that don't derive from human laws or laws of nature. These spiritual laws are foundational life principles that can be split into religious laws, which are not the focus of this book, and non-religious laws. For instance, when we say that those who do good receive good in return, or that envy generates bad energy, we are speaking of spiritual laws. Man-made laws can often be broken without any resulting consequences. Someone who commits murder may not be found out, or due to a technicality may escape conviction. Laws of nature work differently. They are inexorable, and there will always be consequences. Did y'all hear that? Always. There is no getting away from them. For example, you may not be familiar with the law of gravity, or perhaps you don't agree with it. But if you jump from a building, I think I said that earlier, you'll splatter yourself on the ground below. When someone chooses to ignore such natural laws as gravity and thereby suffers its consequence, there is no moral issue involved. There is only cause and effect. People usually know how it works, and they go along with it. Now, ain't that something? So people usually know how it works, and they go along with it. What if we start to learn what these laws of success are and start to go along with it? What many people don't know is that the laws of nature are not the only ones easily noticed, just as the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology affect your life every day. And just as accurately as the laws of mathematics, spiritual laws also influence your daily professional life and carry a degree of cause and effect. Complying with them will bring benefits. Ignoring them will certainly result in negative consequences. Now, I'm teaching on Sunday about habits. Habits, either good or bad, they're going to produce something there as a result of having habits. I don't care if it's a good habit or bad habit. Something coming after that. In the case of human laws against crimes such as murder and armed robbery, no one is found not guilty by alleging that they weren't familiar with the law. Brian, I ain't know it wasn't right for you to kill nobody. I ain't know that. The same is true with spiritual laws. Therefore, it's important to know the 25 biblical laws of success and thereby avoid losing opportunities and money. Some spiritual laws are so important that compliance is mandatory for those who desire to succeed in their careers. Failure to abide by these spiritual laws results in losses and defeats. Some spiritual laws work by expanding or maintaining success, while some are steps in a progression towards success. Spiritual laws, such as those of wisdom, work, sowing, among others, cannot be put on the back burner. Either you follow them or you won't get very far in your career or in life. Other laws will serve to bring you greater personal equilibrium and happiness. For example, spiritual laws about serving your neighbor, but they aren't mandatory. One can be professionally and financially successful without becoming a philanthropist. Andrew Carnegie, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, however, decide to share their fortunes. It's a personal decision. Abiding by the most important spiritual laws or following all of them and reaping the results is a personal decision. It's your choice. If it is correct to say that the happiness of an achievement is impossible without the effort of striving for it, then it is also true that the more you apply the spiritual laws of success, the more successful you will be. Well, I think this is going to be a great compliment to what we're doing on Sunday. Okay. What kind of success do you desire? All right. Although this book is focused on professional success, It is good to remember that there are other kinds of success, such as personal, spiritual, social, and financial, that you have to take under consideration in order to achieve a balance in your life. A career and a paycheck are helpful, but they are not enough to make you happy and fulfilled. There will be moments when every one of us will face the questions: am I fulfilled? Do I enjoy what I do? Do I appreciate life? These have nothing to do with money, market placement, or owning your own business. They are also unrelated to our assets. Living in a nice house and owning a great car are pleasant for sure, but there are many people who own these things and are not satisfied. Can y'all say amen to that? Being interested only in professional and financial success and forgetting family and personal success, reputation, credibility, and social respect is a risk. Once more, this is an individual choice. Nevertheless, social respect, credibility, and a good reputation are strong aids to developing your career and increasing your finances. And, of course, health and family are indispensable to a better life. There's another dimension of personal fulfillment beyond material success, which is characterized by an inner state of peace, security, gratitude, and happiness. As a Brazilian psychiatrist, Roberto, whatever his last name is, has titled his bestseller, "Success is Living Happily." To that end, we do not want you to be frustrated or miserable at work, restrained in your gifts, indebted, broken, or lacking in perspective. We don't want this for ourselves or for our neighbors. This is why we will teach you the spiritual principles to follow to help you find a balance in your finances, your work, and your personal life, for happiness can be found only in the harmony of all three: finances, work, and personal life. I had no ambition to make a fortune. Mere money making has never been my goal. I had an ambition to build. That John D. Rockefeller said that. Okay, so the first one, it's interesting. It's got part one is called Laws Concerning Wisdom. So that's what we've been beating on for a long time. All right, y'all look at your little book here. So it says how to use this workbook. Bring your Bible, pen, and an open heart. This is not just information, it is transformation. So the weekly flow, this is what we're dealing with: key verse, main idea, teaching points, discussion, and reflection. Then number 6, a confession of success. All right, so the laws of vision and obedience. All right. The law of wisdom. Did they get this thing out of order? You got it out of order. Hold on. All right, let me get the table of contents. I'm going to go with it anyway. The law of opportunity, the law of wisdom, vision and obedience. All right. So anyway, law of opportunity. Your Father in heaven causes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. The law of opportunity. What the heck? This thing, it done messed up some stuff here. Y'all gonna have to go past that. Let me see. Okay, go to week 2, y'all. Lord have mercy. Just go to week 2. I don't know how it did that. Yeah, go to week 2. And go back and find out what happened. Okay. The law of wisdom. Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better return than gold. She is more precious than ruby. Nothing you can desire can compare with her. Okay, so again, this shouldn't be foreign to us because we've been dealing with this wisdom thing for quite a while. Wisdom is the foundation on which success is achieved. Some call it organizational, strategic, or financial intelligence when choosing what you want and how to get there. But when you follow the law of wisdom, we can choose which seeds to sow and establish the right causes in order to enjoy the desired results. We are not talking about intelligence as in the ability to deal with geometrical abstractions, mathematical calculations, or memory tests, but as the capacity to adapt while searching for happiness. The intelligence we are talking about is synonymous with wisdom. And we call it, divine intelligence. That's what we call it, divine intelligence. All right, so let me see. Hold on. All right. Which is to know what, when, and how to do something and why it's worth doing. That's what wisdom is, to know what, when, and how to do something or why it's worth doing. There are people who are very intelligent with a high IQ and a prodigious capacity for reasoning and memory, but who lack wisdom for living. Ain't that the truth? In this context, we are talking about not only a so-called emotional intelligence, but also a whole set of knowledge and abilities. This greater intelligence, synonymous with wisdom, is the result of a combination of factors. One doesn't have to be born a genius. That means, the means to happiness and success are readily available to us all. Boy, I wish people believed that. The means to happiness and success are readily available to us all, depending on our choices. You can become wise. All it takes is the desire to do so and a willingness to pay the price of obtaining knowledge and practicing intelligence. Proverbs 3:13-15 reminds us that the best investments is not in gold or silver, but in what? Come on, y'all. It's in wisdom. Yeah. All right. After all, as another passage in Proverbs tells us, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasure. The wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength. Surely you need guidance to wage war, and victory is won through many advisors. That's Proverbs 20:24-6. Wisdom should be a constant in everyone's life and involves 3 degrees or levels. All right, so, all right. Number 1, the first degree of wisdom is having wisdom in general. The necessary knowledge, good sense, and information to make the right choices and have the right attitude in life. That's the first one. The second one is, a second degree of wisdom is a professional competence relating specifically to knowledge of how to work, which requires intelligence in the sense of adaptation and skill. The third degree of wisdom involves in-depth knowledge at the intimate level of the necessary areas and people required for success. And where I guess Brother William and Carice can probably attest to this because they're buying houses and renovating them and flipping them and all of that kind of stuff. So it's that level of wisdom, these 3 levels: general wisdom, general knowledge, good sense, information, make the right choice, have right attitude. Second degree is professional competence relating specifically to knowledge of how to work, which requires intelligence in the sense of adaptation and skill. And then the third one is the wisdom involved in in-depth knowledge at an intimate level of the necessary areas and people required for success. The way to acquire these levels of wisdom is to develop the ability to seek learning. Now, I'm sure he's going to deal with this, but the Bible says that A wise man will hear and increase learning. Yeah, that's what Solomon said. You must be willing willing and humble enough to be open to learning, which a whole bunch of people ain't. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. And that's one of them. That's one of Solomon's reasons that Solomon said that people were poor, because they were unwilling to learn, which involves studying. Man, I ain't got no time to do no study. Reading the Bible and other books, examining your own experiences, and heeding the advice of a mentor, coach, teacher, friend, co-worker, or in our case, pastor. Today's job market is highly competitive. It is almost a daily battle to succeed. The Bible recommends that we be prudent in this battle and that we look for advisors to help us along the way. That is why it is wise to be always studying, so that our advisors, who may be authors of books we read, teachers or co-workers, can help us conduct this war properly. Which advisors have you been following? CNN, CNBC, ABC, NBC. What was the last course you took? The last book you read? The last lecture you attended? When was the last time you asked a wise person for advice or turned to a professional coach or mentor? Which last time? You meet with that guy the other day? The guy that got to build the multifamily units. What you got to do, man. Say, to be honest with you, ain't no sense in trying to reinvent the wheel. If somebody out there that's doing something you want to do, go find them. The first degree of wisdom, knowing what values to abide by. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. James 3:13. The first and most important degree is wisdom in general. On a philosophical level, this kind of wisdom involves knowing what you want and where to go, making decisions, and searching for happiness and balance. It has a lot to do with the values you choose. Wait a minute, maybe this thing is talking about laws. I don't like it. Anyway, it has a lot to do with the values you choose to guide your daily life and the guidelines by which you act and make decisions. Values are like the guardrails on a freeway that help keep you on the road. If you have ever driven on a dark, rainy night, you know what we are talking about. How many serious car accidents have been averted because of guardrails? By abiding by ethical standards, you are adopting guidelines that will help to keep you on the road to success. There are many people who believe that maintaining ethical values will strip them of opportunities and the ability to compete in the market. That's plumb foolishness. But the example of the guardrails is a perfect proof of the contrary. Imagine a race with drivers going as fast as possible around the track. If a driver has a mishap, there is a safe zone where this car can stop. The guardrail. When it comes to business, those who leave the track come to a halt at the guardrails of morality, image, and credibility, and sometimes the guardrail of the law, which could cause them to lose time or even the possibility of staying in the race. Shortcuts are not always the best way to get somewhere fast. Boy. And total freedom is not always positive. When you respect rules and limits, from those of etiquette to the law, you will gain a competitive edge in the long run. In other words, what he's saying is all this cutting, Solomon said, he that hates to be rich shall not be innocent. And people running to the casinos, and I ain't saying nothing. I better not say nothing about buying them lottery Tim scratch-offs and stuff like that. I better not say that. Well, it's the truth. The 25 biblical laws of success operate as bearing points to help you make decisions, to help you choose whether to go left or right, and to help you know when and how to turn the wheel correctly as you approach a curve in the road. Each of us create our own value system by adding personal experiences to what we learn from parents, school, church, friends, people we admire, and so on. The social and cultural arena to which we belong also exercises enormous influence on our values. I talked about that Sunday. And I'm gonna read that again, because this is extremely important. Each of us create our own value system. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this or not. He said you create your own value system. Some of our value system was created for us. By adding personal experiences to what we learn from parents, school, church, friends, people we admire, and so on. The social and cultural arena to which we belong also exercises enormous influence on our values. That's true. Even television, movies, and online shows slowly, watch this, gradually, and in a constant and imperceptible manner contribute to our beliefs and values. So me and Pastor Miller sitting up watching TV Monday night, and watching, and every time a commercial came on, they was promoting drugs, pharmaceuticals, for this sickness, for that. I mean, the first commercial that came on after the show we watching ended was a pharmaceutical commercial. Then it would go to some food or something like that. And and they're constantly keeping this stuff in front of your eyes. And if you got shingles in there, these are the symptoms that you got. Shingles, you sit up there, and then next thing you know, you sitting there watching that stuff, and you open up, and then some little spot pop up on your hand. You talking about, child, that's what them folks said on TV. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Oh, Jesus. I done got that doggone shingle. Ooh, I believe I done got them shingles. Well, guess what would happen if you never heard that? You'd have looked at that little old spot and went on about your business, and guess what that little spot would have did? Well, it eventually went away. But because I'm just as serious as I want to be. I mean, we literally give life to this stuff when there is no life at all. And our attitudes, thoughts, and behaviors are the results of our values. Man, my. They influence our choices, and as a logical next step, they define not only our results, but also how far ahead we are capable of seeing. You said, do our habits create a ceiling for our finances? And that's basically what he's saying. You can choose to abide by whichever values, we can choose to abide by whichever values we embrace and to obey whichever rules we like. But these decisions and the resulting behaviors will determine our fate. Now, a lot of, and I'll be honest with you, some people will probably get this book and start reading and then throw it down. Because what this thing does, it really puts the burden of proof and results on you. Takes away the excuses. The second degree of wisdom, knowing how to work. Your work is your way to your wealth. Matthew 9:13, but go and learn. Wisdom and competence, I don't know what, this is, all my notes is wrong. They got all of the, that's okay, I'll fix it. Wisdom and competence are two different things. A competent person is not necessarily wise and vice versa. People sometimes get confused because they define wisdom as knowing how to do something. But wisdom is knowing what to do, not how to do. While competence resides on a practical level, wisdom works on a philosophical one. Wisdom and competence are closely related, but they are not the same thing. For example, a doctor can be extremely competent to perform surgery on a patient, but not have the wisdom to deal with the patient or his family. Thus, when we talk of competence within the law of wisdom, we mean to go one degree further. Knowing what to do is wisdom. But wisdom also includes knowing how to perform well on a job, how to be good at what you do. Competence, therefore, demands intelligence and skill, which results in a very specific knowledge of how to get the job done, providing good service or a quality product. Knowing how to work intelligently. Getting the job done is great, but you also need to be efficient. Do the job well and deliver excellent results. No one will put up with your work No one will put up with work badly done, only partially done, or done with no regard for technical standards. No, nor is it wise to do fruitless work, something that has no outcome. Well, you know, you got a whole bunch of people that just do just enough. So since you ain't got no folks out there on them lines that do just enough, do you? Yep. 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 It's amazing. Man, yeah, man, why you doing all of that, man? You trying to make us look bad. you know, your section a lot better than ours, man. What's up with that? I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? You know, because a lot of people work for their boss. Talking about Christian, but we work as unto the Lord. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, I want him to be pleased in what I do, whether I'm mopping the floor or not. All right. Sometimes we can do our job in a fruitless way. For example, consider someone who, instead of using a hand cart, opts to carry bricks by hand. Our goal should be finishing a useful task in the most efficient and productive manner possible. There are several examples of poor professionals, like the incompetent worker who doesn't know how to do his job, and the lazy person who knows how to do the job but doesn't put in the effort. A common mistake is to rush through a task, leaving your job to a supervisor or a coworker who will have to fix or redo your work. It is the combination of intelligence and willingness to work that makes someone a very desirable professional. This is a great competitive advantage. Well, I'm telling you, now you got some places that you go, people really appreciate hard work and attention to detail and stuff like that. You know, because how many of y'all gone to eat at a restaurant, pull up McDonald's and go to the drive-thru and get a fillet of fish and all four corners of it hard, break your teeth when you bite down on it. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. And tell how long you've been sitting up under that heat lamp. Yeah, and they know it's wrong. And then then the French fries is cold and hard. Yeah. You know. All right. Knowing how to work skillfully. There is a degree of skill that some people develop that makes them the best at what they do. In Brazil, we have a number of expressions to convey this idea, such as expertise, savoir-faire, goodwill, or know-how. The time when just having the energy and rolling up our sleeves were enough is long gone. We are now in the age of productivity, quality, and effectiveness. And that is the truth, man, because I'm telling you, because there's somebody out there that will take your place. I mean, we need results. What's the use in giving someone a cake recipe if that person is like a fish out of water in the kitchen? You need someone with baking skills to get the job done. What does the Bible say about being a skilled laborer? Let's take a look at a few renderings of Proverbs chapter 22, 29, and he got emphasis added. Okay. Do you see someone skilled in their work? And y'all know we getting ready to go through this on Sunday, so all this stuff. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They were served before kings. They were not served before officials of low rank. Do you see people who work skillfully? They will work for kings, but not work for lowly people. Skilled workers will always serve kings. They will never have to work for less important people. Show me someone who does a good job, and I will show you someone who is better than most and worthy of the company of kings. This is the CEB, the English Revised Version, and the Good News Translation. I don't know what that first one is. It's not the King James. I don't know why they didn't list it. All right. Someone who works well and is skillful, clever, and dedicated will quickly reach the top. They will work for kings, in other words, for the best and for those who pay the best. A skillful, clever, and dedicated student will score the best grades, get the best scholarships, and get the most attractive job offers. Whether you are a salesperson, carpenter, teacher, or business executive, devote yourself to what you do. Develop the necessary skills, and you will find yourself among kings moving up in life. That's the rule. It's quite simple, really. Be very good at what you do. Now, and again, this is so true, because if you have a habit of doing good work, what happens? As a carpenter, if you're good at what you do, what folks gonna find you? Huh? Come on here. They gonna find you, you know. But if you bad at what you do, y'all know I'm telling the truth. I mean, and what happens is, it's like this. There's this magnetism or something that there, you know, you know, and so, you know, that's why people can demand the prices that they demand. People don't care, because they know it's going to be done right. It's going to be done in excellence. Going to be done in a timely manner. They're going to do it right and all that kind of stuff. And they don't care. They don't mind paying for it. You know. So, but it's those habits. Because, man, if you have a habit of just being slothful, you're going to be slothful. You know, and folks ain't going to want food. No. Go somewhere else. They go right around the corner and find somebody else. Aunt Carol be out there at the flea market, and I'm sure she done seen some shabby stuff out there. I say all y'all done, you know, going out there and just people just throwing stuff together to have something out there to sell. Yeah, people, you know, some people will buy that stuff, but they may buy it the first time, but once they find the quality of it, they ain't gonna buy it no more. And I know all of us. I mean, Brother John talking about him and Sister Deborah talking about, boy, we wish we'd have got something. We call ourselves saving money. What'd you say? They would put the deck on the back of their house and some work like that. They said they wish they never had done it. Cutting corners, you're gonna just pay somebody, you know, cut the cost and stuff like that. Then you got to pay for it later. Yeah, you get what you pay for. Yeah, you really do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they want you. It's on. They recording that thing. They probably want to hear what you got to say. Grab that mic.
Where I clean the Comcast at night, and the one supervisor, I was just talking about what I do besides cleaning Comcast, and so he asked me. He said, "Do you put down flooring?" And I said, "Yeah, we do." So me and my friend, we do flooring. He said, "I want you to come over to my condo and take a look at this one room I want done." I said, "Okay." So me and my buddy, we went over to his house and we looked at it, and we gave him a price. And he wanted he had a crawl space so he could get into it, but he wanted fixed so that you couldn't tell there was a door there. And so my buddy, he fixed it so you couldn't even tell there was a door there, but it was one. And so he left a note with his wife after he looked at what we had done, and he told his wife, he said, "You give those guys $200 extra more dollars what they charge." He said, "Because if I'd got anybody else to do it, a contractor to do it, it'd cost me 4 times that much." And so they were so pleased with the job that we did, they gave us another job, putting up trim. It was a special type trim. And I told the lady, I said, "Man, we have never done this type of trim, because what it is, you get one cut. And if you don't get it right, that
Yeah.
whole piece is bad."
Right.
And so she says, "If you guys did that trap door to please my husband, I know you can do that trim." So my buddy, he don't like to cut, so he always put things together. So he would mark it, and I cut it. And we got it all up, and they was pleased with that. And they paid us extra, more than what we had charged them for. You see, like you say, if you do good work, you'll get rewarded for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I didn't take no, me and my buddy, we didn't believe in shortcutting.
Yeah.
We would tell the people, say, "Now, this is the type of material that we put down, and we'll stand behind it, but we won't put down cheap." I told her, "I won't put down cheap flooring, because I know what's going to happen. It's going, especially if your wife wear high heels. As soon as you walk on that cheap flooring,
Yeah.
them heels going through it."
Mhm.
And so, but like you say, if you do bad work, you ain't got to worry about it. People ain't going to have you come back no more. So if you do good work, you'll have plenty of work.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, we stayed busy. Even to the time before I got ready to come down here, we stayed busy. And we made a lot of money because we did a good work. Lady called me one time at church. I was at church up preaching. She called, my cell phone went off, and she said, "I need you guys to come over because I have no power in my house." I said, "Man, it's Sunday night. There's nothing I can do for you on Sunday night. All I can do is come here Monday and take a look at it." So you can do good if you do good work.
That's right. Yeah. And it just, man, if we could just get people to get this. Effortless, what Andrew called it, effortless change. It just happens automatically. All right, it's almost time to quit. Let me do this, and I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but we'll go as far as we can. How can you be skilled and dedicated at work? By acquiring wisdom. Do you ask others how to do the job, or do people usually ask you how to do something? The first one to be promoted is usually the one who knows how to answer questions about what to do, how, when, where, and why. And boy, I can testify to that. If you know how to do your job well, sooner or later, the spotlight will be on you. If not, then nothing will happen. You will end up either running circles in the same place or running the risk of going downhill. A good example of how much a competent person is held in high esteem can be found in 1 Kings 7:13 and 14, a biblical passage that described the precautions Solomon took while building his house. King Solomon sent to Tyre and brought Huram, whose mother was a widow from the tribe of Naphtali, and whose father was from Tyre, and a skilled craftsman in bronze. Huram was skilled with wisdom and with understanding and with knowledge to do all kinds of bronze work. He came to King Solomon and did all the work assigned to him. When you are competent and you know what you're doing, people will notice, and employers will come after you. The one who gets wisdom loves life. The one who cherishes understanding will soon prosper. Proverbs 19:8. All right, the third degree, we'll stop right there. So then we'll pick up the third degree. Now, y'all go ahead, y'all just go take them home with you, read the scriptures that's there and answer those questions. And then I'll figure out why this didn't match these chapters in this book. I got to figure that out. That doesn't puzzle me. So anyway, this is good stuff though. I mean, it really is. I mean, if we're going to live in this world, then we need to know how it works, So, and that's the truth. All righty. Need an offering envelope? Raise your hand. We'll get you one. Get ready to Yeah, I'm really, really surprised that